Peterson has been a designer in the industry for the past 18 years and is the author of over 10 craft how-to books ranging from polymer clay to jewelry making. Linda recently launched Craft Tech University, offering online interactive live classes. Today, Linda's here to give you a peek at what you can learn at Craft Tech U. Today's project is the prettiest Peyote Stitch bracelet. I'm delighted to welcome Linda Peterson from Craft Tech University. Hi, Linda. Hi, Linda.
Hi, Tiffany, and thank you. Hello to all my cool crafting friends out there. It's great to be back again. And Tiffany's right. I am from Craft Tech U, and I'm just going to demo one of the things that you will learn. We haven't done this project actually yet at Craft Tech U, but I do have a lot of my students in there in the chat room, and they will tell you that you learn a lot at Craft Tech U. So we're going to be demonstrating the Peyote Stitch bracelet. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to demonstrate just the Peyote Stitch, because the whole bracelet would take way more than an hour, and we don't really have that much time. And I'm going to break this down very, very simple, because a Peyote Stitch isn't very difficult. It's just a little confusing. So let me change, and there's the inspiration piece. This is actually a Peyote Stitch that is done in the round. It's made flat, and you'll see here as we get into the demo how the Peyote Stitch is actually kind of an interlocking stitch, and then I'll explain how we get that to be round so that you can thread a wire through that and actually make that into a bangle. But let me change my camera setup. Let's go back. We're going to do the very, very basic Peyote Stitch. So what I want to show you is the materials that I use. I'm not using the beads that I have in the project. I'm using different beads. I use wildfire thread. It's a bonded bead weaving thread. It's very strong, and it is good because you can pull it very tight. It doesn't fray. Sometimes when you're using beads, the glass beads have little sharp edges that you might not be able to feel, but as you wear them, it creates abrasion, and it'll eventually wear through your threading wire. So it's always important to make sure you have a really good threading wire. In a lot of the projects that I use in the book, I use these little Delica beads. They're very, very small, and I actually tried to do that with the demo today, and they're just too small to show on camera. But essentially with the Peyote Stitch, what you're doing is you're making a beaded fabric. And the better quality of the bead that you use, the easier your Peyote Stitch is going to be, because they will interlock better. I'm not using that great a quality of beads for this, but I will say that they are kind of square in shape. So what I'm using is, these are about a 10-aught size bead, and I've already done a few of the steps ahead of time. So let me get this up to my camera. One thing I want to talk to you about, and I don't think you'll be able to see this on the camera, is this is my beading needle. Now you can use a regular beading needle that has a sharp point if you want to, but I like beading needles that will curve, because that way I can get in and under the bead. And also it has a collapsible head at the end of it, meaning that it will collapse as it pulls through the bead. And I know that's very difficult to see, but this is a very flexible beading wire. And again, I've got my wildfire, and I have about 10 beads strung onto the end. And in my book, I show you how to do the knot. On my thumb over here is the first bead and the knot. So I've strung on 10 beads. This is an easy part. Everybody can string on beads. So the next thing you're going to do is you're going to pick up, let me get the string out of my way. You're going to pick up a bead on your wire, and kind of like in crochet, what I'm going to do is I'm going to skip this. This is the bead that I just strung on. I'm going to skip this one, and I'm going to go in to the following one. So basically what you're going to do is you're going to string a bead on, skip a bead, and thread. So I've pulled it through. This second row of the Peyote Stitch is the most confusing. I'm going to show you what that looks like here. I'm going to hold it still. It's a little blurry, but you get the idea. These are actually going to stack on every other one. So I'll do one more on this one, and then I'll go to my next step. Again, I'm going to skip over that next bead, and I'm going to go in the following bead. Okay, there we go. And you pull that tight. Now, I'm going to show you, you're going to do that completely around to the very end of however many beads that you have strung on. This is the most confusing one. When you get done with that, it looks like this. You can see how they kind of created a little zigzag pattern. Can you see that? And then what you're going to do, it gets easier because the zigzag pattern allows you to be able to see exactly where you want to put the bead, the next bead. So this is my second row. There's 3 or 4 rows right here. Again, I've still got the interlocking, and it's just a repetitive process. So I'm going to skip over my first bead. This time I can go in pretty easily to my second bead, and I just keep repeating this for as long as you want that stitch to be. So on this one, this is a step out from the ring in my book. I couldn't tell you offhand, unless I looked at the directions, just how many rows I have here. But these are 2 separate pieces. This piece is done separately, and this piece is done separately. And because they interlock, those pieces will just fit right in together, and then you can stitch them closed. So what I want to do is I want to show you this by the pictures in my book to help you get a little bit better idea. If you look on this picture, you can see that what I've done is I'm stitching the 2 pieces that I have created together, and as you saw before how they zigzag, those zigzags will come together and interlock, and then all you have to do is run your thread in and out that way. Same with this one. This one shows it closed. So in my book on Beading in No Time, there's 3 different projects. Here's another project that uses, there we go. This is another project that uses the Peyote Stitch as a base, and then I've sewn some lucite flowers on. So really, Peyote Stitch is very easy. It's in and out every other one. You put a bead on, you skip a bead, you thread it through, and you pull it. Pretty easy. It just takes a little bit of patience, and but the results are actually absolutely stunning. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this back over to Tiffany while I reset my camera again, and I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have.